In Myanmar now, an American journalist accused of working for a banned media outlet has been sentenced to more than 10 years in prison. Ian Lee is following this story as well as other international headlines for us. Ian, good morning.
Good morning, Anne-Marie. Yeah, military court found American Danny Fenster guilty of violating his visa, unlawful association with an illegal group, and incitement by circulating comments to, quote, cause fear and spread false news. The Detroit native had been in the country working as a journalist for Frontier Myanmar, an independent news outlet. He will now spend the next 11 years in prison, according to his lawyer. Human Rights Watch called the verdict a travesty of justice executed by a kangaroo court. The 37-year-old is just one of about 100 journalists who've been detained since a military coup overthrew the democratically elected government earlier this year. Fenster also faces 2 new criminal charges under the country's sedition and terrorism laws, which carry a life sentence. We're moving on to Yemen, where Iranian-backed Houthi rebels breached the U.S. embassy compound in the capital, Sana'a. The militants detained local employees. A spokesman for the State Department said that the majority of the staff have since been released, while they're still working to free the security guards. The diplomatic mission to Yemen was suspended in 2015 near the start of the country's civil war. Much of the operation had been relocated to neighboring Saudi Arabia. No reason was given for the breach. Next, we're in India, where religious pilgrims are gathering on the banks of the Yemeni River, but the water was so polluted by industrial waste and sewage that a thick foam floats on the surface. Thousands of worshippers are gathering for a 4-day Hindu festival, which involves fasting and standing in the water. The yearly event highlights the extremely polluted air and water around the city. The river is so bad that it's deemed unsafe for bathing or irrigation and is a source of many waterborne diseases. Finally, we have a story that we've been keeping an eye on. Data from the United Nations Refugee Agency recorded a rise in people displaced this year. The number of people around the globe who fled violence, insecurity, and climate change now exceeds 84 million. And that's up 1.5 million from the previous year. The continent most affected was Africa, where many moved to different parts of their countries as they escaped active regional conflicts. Anne-Marie, so with this report, there are 2 important terms we should clarify. One is refugee, and the other is internally displaced person. A refugee feels compelled to leave their country for safety, while the latter, an internally displaced person, is someone who stays in their country but moves to a different part to find that safety.
Right, and that can happen anywhere. We certainly have seen it happen right here in the U.S. and in Europe. So to what extent are climate change-related weather disasters causing displacement?
You know, I think, let me just give you an example. So some experts say that climate change helped spark the Syrian civil war. The country experienced a prolonged drought. Farmers thus moved to the cities to find work, putting pressure on those communities. Unemployment rose, people grew angry with the government, and conflict broke out. Millions of people then fled the country, and we may remember the reports of waves of migrants and refugees flooding into Europe. And that's an example how climate change can affect just one country, but spreading to become a global problem. Now imagine how this could affect the world, especially coastal countries, as sea levels rise, forcing people to move.
You know, we have a tendency sometimes to focus on, a refugee crisis related to maybe some sort of conflict or only certain crises and not others. Can you kind of describe the state of the world's refugee crisis?
Yeah, so the countries that have the largest numbers of people fleeing include Syria with nearly 7 million, followed by Venezuela at just over 4 million, while Afghanistan, South Sudan, and Myanmar round out that top 5. Most of them end up in neighboring countries. For instance, many Syrians fled to Turkey, as well as Jordan and Lebanon, while Venezuelans fled to Colombia, Afghans to Pakistan. Germany, though, was in the top 5 countries with the most refugees, but it doesn't border any war-torn nation. But it's seen by many as the best place to settle and find safety, and just as important for them, benefits and work.
Did the report indicate whether people ever get a chance to go back home?
Yeah, so there is a little bit of good news here when folks are able to return home. South Sudan saw about 50,000 people return, but that's still down from the previous year. Burundi saw about the same amount, and Syria also saw about 20,000 people go home. And this is the priority for the UN, to help people rebuild their lives, But we do need to remember that this is just a tiny fraction of those who fled.
Ian, great talking to you. Thank you very much.